What's up, everybody? We're so glad you're here with us today on the Horns Report, where we talk about all things UT athletics. I'm your host, Billy Gates, and with me to talk about this on KXAN Plus is, of course, not Roger Wallace. It's Noah Gross today, KXAN anchor and reporter. Noah, thanks for joining me, man.
Yeah, Billy, plenty to talk about today, as is the case always, but there's a certain player for Texas that I think a lot of people are interested in hearing about, I would say.
Yeah, you could say that. And we're going to talk about him pretty extensively today. Moving on with our 2025 Texas Longhorns positional previews series that we are running on KXAN Game Night, Sunday nights, as well as KXAN.com. The latest one we have up, let me show you. Let me get it to the headline. Ooh, it just scrolled down to the bottom like I'm a crazy person. Hang on one second. We'll get back here. We'll get back here. There we go. There we are. Okay. So we have our wide receiver and tight end preview up. That's the latest in the series that we've been doing. Let's see. Here is your list. We gotta get a close up view of this bad boy. Here we go. So far we've got your offensive line, defensive line, running backs, and linebackers all live on the site, so you can catch up with our previews on KXAN.com. This one, the quarterbacks, will go live July 24th, which is Thursday, on our website. And then we will end with the defensive backs and special teams once training camp gets going there on July 31st. So there you go. And that is Arch. That should be both of us. I'm having a heck of a time already. This is already starting to be a great show, Noah.
Arch is getting to us.
Yeah,
There's just so much to talk about.
I think it is. I think it is Arch. So anyway, without further ado, let's get into the quarterbacks. I mean, we've all heard about Mr. Manning. You know, he has said himself that maybe he deserved, or he got some undeserved attention ever since he set foot on the campus at UT, considering his last name is synonymous with quarterbacks, with football, with the NFL, with greatness. So he's officially the starter, Noah. I guess what can be said about him that hasn't already been said? I mean, it's pretty wild. Steve Sarkisian talked about him ad nauseum at SEC Media Days. You were there. I mean, it's kind of what was the feeling about Arch and the position that he was in?
Feeling from Sark was one portraying confidence. Arch also mentioned, and I asked him, I think one of the big reasons he's ready for this is not just his third year in this city and within this program, Billy. It's his third year with Sark and AJ Milwee. So he really knows kind of the system. He played at the end of his freshman season against Texas Tech, and the crowd went insane. But he played meaningful games last year. We're seeing some of this now. Early in the season, games that Texas was like 35 point favorite in. Mississippi State, ULM, and UTSA, where he came in when Quinn Ewers got hurt. But that's football, where he was the starter, and it's different when you're like just saying, oh yeah, I always practice like I'm the starter, versus when you actually are. And then he also came in as a runner a lot late in the year. I don't think he attempted a pass after the Florida game last year. So he came in every single game and had a rushing attempt in every single one of like the last four, except the Peach Bowl, where I think he did come into the game. He just handed the ball off. So this is a guy with, I think, more experience than people are giving him credit for. And with 3 years in this system, Billy, I think he's in a pretty good spot for success heading into his redshirt sophomore season.
Oh yeah, and I think so too. I mean, you can see the talent. Like you can see that he's a very talented player. I mean, he wouldn't have been the number one recruit for 2024 had he not been talented. I mean, I think he was doing it against smaller school competition in Louisiana, where the Manning family traditionally went to. Isidore Newman High School there in New Orleans. So it wasn't like he was playing against the best competition in Louisiana, because Louisiana's got some pretty good high school football once you get up to the bigger levels. But it's that talent is still there. Like you saw it in UTSA game where he rips off that 67-yard run where he just absolutely smokes that poor UTSA linebacker with a juke move, put him on his butt, and then he takes off, 67-yard touchdown run. Crowd just goes just bananas. I mean, we were all there. We saw it. Like that play kind of like almost almost gave the crowd what they've wanted to see the entire time Arch was here, even though he was sitting behind, Quinn Ewers and then Malik Murphy for a bit too.
Yeah, so with Arch, I was going to also mention some of the stuff at SEC Media Days. One thing you mentioned at Isidore Newman, his high school, he said it's a bit different now at Texas because nobody cared who he was in high school. Don't believe that for a second.
Right.
I mean, he was still a celebrity,
Yeah.
As soon as he was able to walk, basically. So that I don't believe, but also just, everything that comes with being Arch. He's we've done some stuff on this on KXAN, and we will do some stuff, or you will, on KXAN.com this week. But Arch was he was effortless at media days. I mean, Michael Taft, when I asked him, I was like, this seems effortless for Arch, just like handling all this. He's like, I really don't think he's that funny. I think you guys are just giving him pity laughs, which some of them were.
Just giving him lip service, sure, yeah.
Yeah, but no, he handled it all so well. And then, because at SEC Media Days, there's different sections. You have to talk to different people. There's ESPN, there's local media, there's everything in front of the main media, which is where all the pictures and video are.
Yeah.
Arch talking to 1,000 people. And when it's something like that, and it's not really local media, it's just these national people.
Sure.
A lot of the questions are about family, about things that he's answered 10,000 times before.
Right.
And that can be kind of exhausting. But it's a long day. He handled it well. And he also mentioned, it did get to him at some points when he was getting some of that undeserved attention where he would like walk to class, people would stop him, ask for autographs and pictures, and he'd be having fake phone calls with his mom and things of that sort. So
I thought that was good. I mean,
yeah.
Now that that's out in the open, he's gonna have to think of some new tactics, though.
Yeah, and I wasn't sure if he was saying he was calling his mom or he was acting like he was calling his mom.
It was a little weird how he put it, but I mean, I think you could tell like maybe he was just acting like he was calling his mom.
Yeah, but like if I'm mom, I'm like, well, why don't you just actually call me then?
Sure, yeah.
She probably wanted to talk. I mean, maybe she's busy, but
who knows?
But regardless, for Arch, I think there's reason for confidence heading into this year. And I mean, man, Billy, week 1, that should be a pretty interesting one.
Yeah, week 1 against Ohio State. That should be the absolute first test that he should have. I mean, he did come in against Georgia a little bit there in that second quarter, but you couldn't really get a sense of where he was at that point because he only played a series and then Ewers came back in. So August 30th is really where the rubber's about to meet the road for Arch Manning, for all of this hype. There have been people all summer, not buying into the hype, saying that he has to go out and prove it. And he himself said that, I believe the direct quote is, talk is cheap. You have to go out and prove it, I believe is what he said at the SEC Media Days. So he realizes that. He's not really taking anything for granted. Steve Sarkisian's repeatedly said that Manning is one of the hardest workers on the team. He's got the most respect of anybody on the team. So, it's not like he's leaning on that last name. He's putting the work in, and, we're going to see, how much more he's got to do and where he needs to go when they go up to the Horseshoe and they take on the defending national champs who beat Texas in the Cotton Bowl last year, the CFP semifinals. It's a really interesting kind of scheduling how they're essentially playing Ohio State back to back.
Yeah, it's crazy. One more thing I wanted to mention, Arch. Can you pull up the video again on old Archibald Manning?
Sure. Let me
within this, obviously there's some warm-up video in here, but Arch made some splash plays. Billy, you mentioned the long run against UTSA. He made some pretty incredible big plays. This one against Texas A&M when he was not the starter, but coming in as a runner. There's some memorable, big, flashy moments in here. And as we mentioned, Billy, the games he started, it was where Texas was a massive favorite. And, I could make this throw. Watch how open Ryan Wingo is.
He's about as open as a 7-Eleven.
Yes. So within those games where he had those splash plays, to me, he was inconsistent. And there were points where Texas would be rolling up 21 and he would make a bad decision. So to me, that's the really interesting thing heading into the season because he can make throws like that. He can make runs like you said against UTSA.
Mm-hmm.
He can clearly do it all. That's why that leads me to conclude that I think this season is going to be good for Arch Manning. I don't know if it's going to be great. I think he's going to show enough where if he wants to go to the NFL, he'll be a very high pick. But I do think there's going to be inconsistencies. And as we get, to me, it's, as you said, the rubber meets the road late in the year. The conference schedule for Texas this year is not the SEC that you might expect when you go into it. It's easy on the easier side, still a conference slate, but other than the Georgia and maybe Florida game, it's not horrible. So when you get into those tough games, and presumably for Texas into the college football playoff, that's where you're going to learn so much about Arch, because they're going to be 40-point favorites in a lot of these games, even some conference games. Vanderbilt at home, Arkansas does not look that great this year, Mississippi State on the road. So some of these really tough games. Ohio State early, that's going to be a fun one. Obviously, we're going to be excited for it, but how much are you going to learn from him in his first real I'm the starter kind of start? So I think late in the year is where we're really going to learn about Arch and what he's able to do for the future of Texas and in the NFL as well.
Yeah, it's going to be fun to watch, that's for sure. So, obviously we've just talked about Arch. There are a few other guys who play quarterback for Texas, it turns out. I'm not sure if anyone else out there knows, but there are more people than just Arch Manning who play quarterback for the Longhorns, and here they are right here in front of you. Arch Manning, obviously, is your starter. He's a sophomore, redshirt sophomore, if you will. Interesting move by Steve Sarkisian in the offseason to bring in Matthew Caldwell, a transfer from Troy. He's just sort of like a senior, sort of like rental guy. He's going to be like that sort of veteran presence in the room because, quite frankly, everybody after Arch Manning's either a redshirt freshman or a freshman. Trey Owens, the great quarterback out of Houston, who had a tremendous spring game 2 springs ago, the last time Texas had a spring game. Trey Owens played tremendous. He played great. And then KJ Lacey, the highly touted freshman out of Florida, I believe, somewhere.
A high school.
A high school from somewhere. Where are we at? From Alabama, from Saraland, Alabama.
Yeah, Saraland.
How could I forget Saraland, Alabama? And I mean, they've also got the top quarterback recruit from 2026 coming next season in Dia Bell. He's from Florida. I remember that much.
There you go.
So as far as the rest of the quarterbacks go, we've seen Trey Owens a little bit. Saw him in that spring game. He played very, very well. No spring game this past spring, so he didn't get to see KJ Lacey. We didn't get to see Owens' sort of, I guess, improvement. Sarkisian brings in Caldwell. I thought that was an interesting move. I mean, just kind of what's your read on that move, Noah, with Sarkisian bringing in that senior transfer?
I'll be stunned if Caldwell takes the field this year. I mean, maybe for like senior day. Well, actually, it's against A&M, so it's probably going to be a close game. If it was against like a Vanderbilt, Arkansas, Mississippi State of the world, maybe. But looking at him, he was not the starter going into last season at Troy. Their starter got hurt, so I would have a hard time seeing him come in and be the backup for Texas. And it's going to be interesting with Arch because he's able to run a lot. So does that make him more injury prone? We obviously haven't seen that so far for him. But is there going to be as many design runs? Because if there is, which he was the guy that would do a lot of read options last year, Billy, that would kind of open your mind to think, okay, this guy's more susceptible to injuries. Within that, you got to have a backup you trust. Sark loves him some Trey Owens. He talked about that when he was getting recruited. He was looking at all the recruiting guys after they talked at signing day. He's like, you guys are finally realizing he's not a 3-star. He's better than that. He's talked about since then. You mentioned as a freshman in the spring game. So he's a guy that's been in the system now 2 years. So while Caldwell is a veteran, I have a hard time believing that Trey Owens would not be the first guy off the bench should something happen to Arch.
Yeah, officially there isn't a backup yet. Sarkisian was asked about that. Yeah. So officially there isn't one. So there's a competition at least, and we'll see how that goes. KJ Lacey, very athletic guy, could fit into sort of that offense where Steve Sarkisian's going to let the quarterback run a little bit. Now, Sarkisian at media days did say that he was going to run Arch as much as the game told him to, which makes a ton of sense. I mean, you're not going to just like put in 10, 12 runs just to do it. Yeah. Like you're going to go ahead and see what the defense gives you, see what kind of looks you're getting, and then use Arch's athleticism to your advantage within that sort of game plan. So that makes a ton of sense for Sarkisian to kind of, hold his cards, if you will, about Arch running the ball. But we know he can do it, and by golly, he should, because he's a great runner.
Yeah, and just to add to the whole backup conversation, if you're a fan that's thinking Arch is the starter. Don't got to worry about anything else. Just look at Sark's tenure so far.
Yeah.
In 2021,
Yeah.
obviously it was different. It was a quarterback battle, but like Hudson Card, Casey Thompson going back and forth. 2022, Quinn gets hurt. Hudson Card comes in. 2023, Quinn gets hurt. Malik Murphy comes in. And then last year with Arch. So, well, Quinn provided stability at the position. He was your basically unquestioned starter for 3 years. There were still multiple quarterbacks that were playing meaningful snaps for Texas every year under Sark. So now heading into year 5, it's a new guy that's the guy. But it's still been, if you look at this past history, this is just backups are important. And that's probably why he got Caldwell, veteran presence. You know, Trey Owens hasn't seen this stage officially yet. So, I mean, I understand that move from him. I'm just, when it comes to a backup that if Arch went down at some point or something happened, I do think it would be Trey Owens first off the bench.
Yeah, and we're all gonna find out, you know, basically when everybody else does. I mean, probably that first press conference he does for training camp. I would assume he announces a backup then, but hey, who knows?
Maybe like 30 seconds before everyone else, because then we'll tweet it out.
Yeah,
and
sure,
everybody else will see
yeah,
it.
you bet.
That's what it is.
You betcha. All right, well, hey, that is our quarterback preview for the 2025 season for the Texas Longhorns. We'll bring this back up again. Our current preview up on KXAN.com right now is the wide receivers and the tight ends. It's a group that has a lot of turnover from last season, but Sark didn't seem too worried about his pass catchers. So you can read all about that, KXAN.com, and you can catch up on our positional preview series. All the links are right there. This quarterbacks one will be live Thursday, July 24th. Whenever I get done with it, probably going to be in the mid-afternoon time frame when I get done with it, but we'll certainly put that out on social media and let y'all know when it's done, because I'm having a good time writing all these. I mean, and actually Noah helped out writing the running backs one when I was on vacation, so thanks, man.
Yeah, so the one with all the grammatical errors.
No, we got you good at it, man. We got you good at it.
Shout out to the editor.
Yeah, shout out to the editor. That's this guy. Anyway, so we're going to move on. We're still sticking with football because, I mean, it is about that time. Noah, like we'd mentioned earlier, you were at SEC Media Days outside of the Arch Manning chatter, whatever you want to call it. I mean, what are kind of a couple, maybe let's go with 3. What are your 3 main takeaways from SEC Media Days when it comes to the Texas Longhorns?
You know my memory, Billy. I'm not going to remember the third once I get. So I'll just go.
Okay, sure. Just go
Okay.
however you feel.
All right, I'll just go until I
Go
start
with your heart, Noah.
forgetting things. Michael Taff he's the best speaking college athlete I've ever encountered. Maybe athlete, period. The guy can just go on forever. When there was the local media part of SEC Media Days, it was Sark first, and then it was Arch, Anthony Hill, and Michael Taff, and the powers that be pulled away Arch and Anthony Hill after 20 or so minutes, but they were just letting Taff go until his voice was gone. So Michael Taff obviously wore a tie with the initials of 27 of the people that were lost in the Camp Mystic floods. So that was his focus for SEC Media Days. We have a story up online about that, and Michael Taff was great in talking about that as well. It was made by the tie was custom made by a local company as well as far as football stuff for Michael Taff. One story I thought was interesting from Taff. Obviously, he's such a leader now, Billy. 5th-year guy, walk on. Then Arch Manning says he's like a big brother to Arch. Taff is. So it just kind of shows you the credibility he has in that locker room. Actually, 2 Taff and Arch things. One being Taff has a voice now. He's the unquestioned one of the leaders on this Texas team. When he was young and starting to speak up, I think it was 2022, he was saying a story where Roshan Johnson was the leader of the team. And Taff was starting to speak up a little bit, but he wasn't totally sure. He's like, people don't want to listen to me. I'm the walk-on, and I haven't really played much yet. But then Roshan went up to him and was saying, you keep doing that. Keep talking. They'll trust you. And that really helped him find his voice because Roshan was that guy for Texas. And Sark and everybody always talked about how great Roshan was as a leader, and that's helped Taff become who he is. The other one was, Michael Taff was talking about bringing Arch Manning in. He was his host when he was recruiting. It was like a Friday night. I think it was spring. It was either training camp or spring practice because it wasn't during the season. And they had a big practice the next day, physical practice. And Michael Taft, great storyteller he is, was like, I just really wanted to like ice up and rest. We had a big practice the next day. He was probably competing for a starting job at this point. And he's like, all right, Arch, what do you want to do? It's Arch Manning. You can't say no. He's like the biggest recruit of all time. And Michael Taft, asked him, like, do you want to go to the town? What do you want to do? And Arch is like, I just want to do what you do before practice. So he went to the ice bath with him. He went to rest and recovery. And he's like, that showed me a lot about who Arch Manning is and how he's team focused. And he's not here to just have all the glitz and glam of being like a number one overall recruit. But he was, just a guy that was so football focused and team focused. And I did think of a third one, but I've been talking for a while, so I will send this back over to you.
Sure. We'll save the third one for just a little sort of tangent here. After SEC media days were over, the SEC preseason poll came out, voted by media members who were at the media days, and they picked Texas to win the SEC in their second year. Had 96 of the 204 votes. Georgia was second, followed by Alabama and then LSU. So as far as media members go, Texas already has their respect. I mean, I think they did more than enough to prove that last year, getting to the SEC title game, although losing to Georgia for the second time of the season, lost to them in overtime in the title game there in Atlanta. So, quickly gaining respect by at least media members. The coaches, maybe that's going to take a little longer, and maybe some other of those OG SEC fans who, haven't really accepted Texas A&M when they. So it's an interesting kind of deal. And Arch Manning is, I know we said we wouldn't talk about him anymore, but here we are. He is the favorite to win the Heisman Trophy by most sports books, and say what you will about that. We'll see when people actually play football on the field. So what is this third thing from SEC media days that you can recall, Noah? Hit us with it. We're waiting.
Yeah, I am too, because I just totally forgot about it.
Nice. The train left the station.
The train did. I think it was Michael Taft and Arch Manning focused. But on that Heisman Trophy thought, yeah, Arch said, I think that was the question where he's like, I don't know how people get all these notions about me. I haven't played yet. Talk is cheap. I got to go prove it. So that was his quote about that. And some third thing that was pretty good. I felt strongly about it too, but it has eluded my mind.
Well, I can help you out here. So Sarkisian, with all the talk about Arch Manning and the offense and all this stuff, he wanted to remind people that they still play defense in Texas, and it's very, very good. As we all saw last season, the pass defense was one of the best in the country. Oh,
I got it.
What was it? Okay. Go take it away.
All right,
take it away.
I wasn't even thinking about it. It just came.
Absolutely.
So Taft and Arch, best friends, all this stuff. They always talk about how great and how close they are. And they wrote down, I guess they're manifesting guys, they're like TikTok manifesting guys now. But they write down in their journal like goals for the year. And Michael Taft is like the most selfless guy you can imagine. Him and Anthony Hill kind of lead that charge for Texas, especially defensively. And he's writing down his goals. And then he looked at Arch's after, and Arch didn't have a single goal about himself. It was like everything about the team. I like to think of ourselves probably as selfless guys, Billy. But if I'm writing down all my goals for a year, if I'm a quarterback, I'm gonna be like, win the Heisman Trophy, throw 3,000 yards or whatever. All of Arch's stuff was about the team, and Taft looked at his stuff. He's like, wow, maybe I am selfish, because he had win the Thorpe Award for the best defensive back. I don't know what it was specifically, but he had some individual stuff in there, and he's like, wow, this Arch guy is totally about the team. I think Texas fans will probably be happy to hear that.
I bet. I mean, he sounds like he's got his head on straight. I mean, obviously he's from a great family. So, yeah. Back to defense here real quick. Clearly Texas is going to have one of the best defenses in the country, returning a lot of guys. Anthony Hill, Manny Muhammad, Michael Taft, we've been chatting about. Ethan Burke, Colin Simmons, Colton Vasek once he gets back from his shoulder injury. Leonga Lafau, who had a tremendous, just a breakout season last year after he got his chance to play there at linebacker. So, ton of guys on the defensive side that are gonna play well. And so we'll see how that shakes out. And I mean, that's the cool thing about sports, man. Like you never know. Like you can play this guessing game like all you want. Like you can have a educated kind of guess about how somebody's going to do, and if you're right, then you look cool. But if you look wrong, you get blasted on Twitter or X or whatever it's called now. Couple more things before we let y'all go. Jordan Lee won a gold medal for the United States under-19 team at the AmeriCup. Is that where
That was Madison Booker.
that was
the
Madison
FIBA
Booker?
World
This
Cup.
is the FIBA World Cup, the under-19 World Cup. There's so many cups,
A lot of gold medals to go around.
so many gold medals, so many FIBA cups.
Yes.
Anyway, pretty cool thing for Jordan.
She's a starter.
Yeah, she scored. She had 10 in the final against Australia.
I think 7. She had 15 in the semifinals.
Okay, there we go. So yeah, I mean, another big part of what Vic Schaefer wants to do in the future. Jordan Lee, a great all-around ball player.
Yeah.
I mean, we've watched. We had to see all season of her this past year. She kind of sort of seems like the heir apparent to Booker. If you could put that label on somebody.
Yeah, she's not quite the same size and physicality, but yeah, she's an offensive threat, that's for sure.
Yeah. All right, and in case you hadn't heard, over the weekend, there's a former UT golfer that won a pretty big tournament. Scotty Scheffler wins the Open Championship. Everybody around here goes nuts because he's a UT grad, a Dallas native. I don't know what your level of interest is in golf. We could get Roger talk about golf for an hour here if we wanted to, but it is pretty cool for a guy as humble as Scotty and a guy who's family centric as Scotty to go out there and just demolish everybody.
Yeah, he was incredible. We just got off a Zoom with John Fields, his college coach with Texas. So we're gonna have that on KXA News at 6. Part of it, as well as some Scheffler post game where he talks about a restaurant that used to be one of my favorites and now is not my favorite. So stay tuned for that. It's on KXA News at 6.
That's what we call a tease in the biz.
And
everybody,
Scheffler's just incredible. His coach had some good stories about him, former coach, I should say. So we'll have that for you there.
Alrighty. Well, hey, we're gonna end this Horns Report on that. Thank you so much for watching. For Noah Gross, I'm Billy Gates, and we'll talk to you again soon.